So I just finished my morning yoga, which is a practice that I've put into my life since I got back from India, which is kind of funny because you'd think that you go to India and you do lots of yoga and meditation, and I didn't while I was there. Actually, that was one thing that I learned while being there is that I need to have those practices in my life. And so since coming back, I've been making a point of doing that because that's one way that I feel good. If I don't do these things, if I don't do these practices, especially in the morning, then I don't feel good. um, and it while I was finishing, something came to mind that I wanted to talk about that sort of bothered me. While I was in India, some people left comments about, like, oh, you should go to the spiritual places. You should go to the spiritual places. Like, as if there's this, like, formula for spirituality or even happiness, you know? Actually, one of the most powerful conversations I had on the subject of spirituality was on the plane when I was leaving, right before I put my little sleep cap up to catch some Z's on the flight, and it was with this guy next to me. We had a very short conversation. It just sort of like happened, and it was so spot on, and then it was done. But one thing that he said that I really liked was that spirituality is nothing but knowing yourself. So a spiritual journey is nothing more than a journey to know thyself. And that really hit home for me because I think that there are all these ideas of spirit. Oh, you're so spiritual. The spiritual experience in India. Like, oh, we're going to sit and we're going to chant and we're going to go to the ashram and we're going to do yoga. And yeah, well, some people have that experience. That's great. It's not the experience I had, not at all. But I would say that if if spirituality or that spiritual journey is the journey to know thyself, then yeah, I mean, I definitely had that kind of journey. I mean, I've been saying all along this has been a journey about learning, and I guess my point is like to each their own. Don't tell me like what my spirituality is like, and don't tell me I mean, you can tell me your formula. You can give me advice. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I don't. And this is something I guess just in my life in general. Like, I don't do well with being told what to do. I do great with guidance. I do great with guidance and suggestions, But being told what to do or like what my formula is, that doesn't work for me. I think we each have to find our own sense of God, of our purpose, of ourselves, of what makes us happy. For me, I know that doing meditation and yoga in the mornings is definitely a part of what makes me happy. And when I don't do those things, I sort of degrade into a toxic place. And that was actually really the main reason why I left was that I wasn't I was very in touch with the fact that I wasn't liking what I was doing there, and I wasn't liking who I was becoming there, and the practices that I wasn't doing there. I mean, I was staying in Delhi for a while, for 2 months, 1 month. I did a little bit of traveling in Rajasthan, but then I came back, and I was just kind of staying in Delhi, and I wasn't doing yoga, frankly, because the air was so dirty. Like, I didn't want to breathe it more. Like, I didn't want to exercise because I didn't want to breathe the air more. And I wasn't really doing the meditation. I was sort of degrading into this, like, toxic place. And I realized it was sort of like a wake up, like, wait a minute, this is not what I want. And I had this, I achieved this, like, new sense of, like, what I want for me. And so I left to pursue it. And I feel really good about it. And I was really, really super lucky, super blessed that my family welcomed me here in St. Thomas. So they live here. My cousins work here and live here. And so they welcomed me. I was in a bad place. I mean, I said it. I was in a very toxic place. My mind, from like waking till sleeping, was like this toxic vat of just like negativity and like fear and just it wasn't a good thing for me, and so I recognized that, and I listened to my family, and I came back, and I'm so glad that I did, because now with this new sense of like who I am and what I want and like what makes me happy, like I'm doing that, I'm pursuing that, like I'm on the mat every morning, and oh my God, this is awesome. So I've been doing yoga on YouTube with this chick named Adrienne. Yoga with Adrienne, check it out. She has this 30-day yoga camp that I'm loving, and after I'm like 10 days into it, I left India about like 2 weeks ago, and now 10 days into it, I'm feeling so good and so much more grounded and just so much more in touch with myself, and it's a really beautiful thing to learn to take full responsibility for your wellness and your happiness, because I was really turning the responsibility for my happiness over to others, and that wasn't working. One thing I've learned, my friend Charles was saying the other day, is that if you put all your faith in another human being to like do it for you, you're gonna be disappointed. So that's definitely one thing I learned, and great, because now I'm taking responsibility for myself and my happiness, and I'm feeling really good, and I'm so excited to get back to Boston. So excited. There's so much good stuff I want to do, but I guess that's for another vlog. So I guess my lesson or my point is take responsibility for making you happy, and your happiness is going to look different than someone else's happiness. Your spiritual journey is going to be different than someone else's. And just because you don't go to the ashrams doesn't mean you can't have a spiritual journey. You can have a spiritual journey in an alley or in a dirty, disgusting city full of polluted air. Like, you can have a spiritual journey anywhere, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. This is about your journey and what lessons you need to learn, right? So, yeah. Cool. Very good.